Earlier this month, I was fortunate enough to attend the Greatest Gathering, where I got to ride the Ffestiniog Railway's Prince, the oldest operating narrow gauge steam engine in the world. Paired with Prince was a carriage and brake third van almost as old, and it's the latter I got to ride in and enjoy. Bachmann released a model of the brake third van and the as originally built new build curly roof van earlier this year, and this experience convinced me to pick up the preserved version as a model. At Rails of Sheffield it was 20% off after the gathering at £47.95, which makes it the most expensive narrow gauge coach/van I have bought so far. I've heard and read good things, and have high hopes for this being an impressive model. It's still at the top end of what I'd be willing to spend on such a model though, so I'm hoping it lives up to my expectations. The van arrived in the standard Bachmann Europe narrow gauge packaging. The preserved 1873 example has the product code of 394080. Out of the packaging, it certainly captures the unique shape and design of the prototype. There's a nice matte grey roof and green livery, with the die-cast metal underframe and wooden window frames picked out in different shades of brown. I wasn't expecting a narrow gauge model to have any die-cast components, so that was fantastic to read about and feel in person. The door handles are even picked out in different shades of what looks like dark green. The ends of the wagons are red with the doorknobs separately fitted and picked out in gold. The guard's platform has some excellent railings fitted, as well as the brake pipe and associated mounts. The sole bars have rivet detailing either side of the large coupler, which doesn't look so out of place compared to other tiny 009 rolling stock. The ducats of the guard's compartment even have window framing and fitted glazing rather than just prints or cutouts, which exemplifies Bachmann's attention to detail here. The front end of the wagon has moulded planks and a separately fitted brake pipe, but otherwise is pretty plain by comparison. The decals are expertly printed and applied on the sides of the van, even on the window glazing itself. I wasn't expecting to see that, but Bachmann has picked it up and mastered not just the effect but their technique. Internally there are also benches and compartment dividers that are appropriately coloured, and are much better than the blank interiors we got with the Bachmann US Talaclin coaches I looked at recently. The bogies this sits on include moulded details such as the axle boxes and springs, and are actually really sophisticated when you give them due attention. The axles feature curved spoked wheels, and between both bogies we have some fitted underframe detail. I'm hoping this doesn't impede their running ability to turn in handle tight curves. I read somewhere that these could manage first radius, but I'm a bit dubious looking at it in person. The body appears to be removable by undoing 4 screws, though there were no instructions to confirm this. On the scales, the van comes in at 36 grams, roughly the same weight as the similarly sized ambulance covered box wagon I looked at last year. It's decent for a larger piece of rolling stock, but not so heavy that the small engines will struggle with a train. The back-to-back wheel gauging comes in at 7.6 to 7.7mm, which is spot on and consistent. Overall, this is a fantastically realised brake third van that is shaping up to be really promising. Let's see how it performs down on the track. The wagon is well engineered to roll freely but not run away with itself. The balance of weight and friction hits that sweet spot. Time to test the couplings. I've set the van up at the end of the train that again includes my Pico Glyn Valley tramway coach, as well as an Egger Barn cattle livestock wagon. I've loaded up a camel in it because why not? A railway has to carry whatever the customer wants transporting. My sister has affectionately nicknamed our local camel Gerald, so this is also Gerald by association. At the head of the train is my Pico Small England Prince, but in a different guise today. After the Greatest Gathering, I bought myself one that's in the livery I saw at the show. I'm not sure what I'll do with my red liveried Prince yet though. We'll see what I decide. Anyway, let's get on with it. That first attempt was a dud. Let's try again. print seems to be a bit gung-ho on the controller. Aha! They've coupled by themselves. I think that's a first in my OO9 reviews. That was trouble over the points. The camel's gone, but everything else seems to have coupled. I'm not quite sure what happened there. My new Prince was being a bit finicky over the points, and when reversing to have another go at coupling up, the entire livestock wagon was just ejected from the train. Gerald's ended up humped down, but I assure you he's okay. Gerald the camel has been righted, so now let's do the points test. On that first run through, everything passed flawlessly. And on the other side of the passing loop, everything's running excellently as well. The baseboard joins aren't phasing any part of the train, so the van is flying high and passing all my tests. So, it's a resounding success. It can indeed do the tight first radius Pico set track curves without any drama. It's a fantastic model that's proving to be robust and reliable. I can see myself running this a lot in future trains, both passenger and freight, using this just as a brake van. Quite the versatile little vehicle we have here. On to my final verdict. Decoration. This is largely simple for the most part, but is executed excellently. The decals are crisp and well done, even on the window glazing, and all of the smaller details are picked out cleanly. Even the interior seating and compartment walls have appropriate coloration. There really was nothing to complain about, so that's an easy first point scored. Details and features. This was really pleasing all round. Interior detailing was a big tick in this model's favour, complemented by the inclusion of separately fitted railings, brake pipes, door handles and underframe detailing. The bogies are modelled with fine details and curved spoke wheels are fitted. Besides lighting, which I've personally not seen on any OO9 coaches yet, this is everything I could ask for. It scores a second point. Quality. This on the whole was excellent as well. One of the window decals was missing a corner, and the railings looked slightly off being straight, but these were so minor that they could easily be overlooked and largely be out of my mind. There were no design or manufacturing flaws that detracted or ruined this model for me. The inclusion of a die-cast metal underframe also elevates the robustness and quality. It is a fantastic piece of rolling stock for my narrow gauge coach collection. Performance. Despite the camel ejection incident, which I put down to my new loco more than the van, there were no hiccups during my performance tests. The couplings latched together on their own without a hand of God intervention, and despite my hesitations, the wagon handled points, board joins, and tight radius curves with ease. This exceeded my expectations, so the van scores another easy point. And finally, onto price. At full price, I still think this is definitely too expensive, but at the price I bought it for, I can see all the individual elements that stack up to make this cost as much as it does. Window glazing decals and interior detail undoubtedly add a premium, and the performance cannot be faulted. But this still feels a tad too expensive for me. Now I've seen it in the flesh, I'm glad I've got it, but I feel I wish I could have got it a little cheaper, perhaps around the £40 mark. Anything above that toughens the pill that needs to be swallowed. It's performed fantastically in all my other areas though, so I'll follow my gut here like I have the others and just mark it down on price. I like it a lot, but dislike how much one has to pay to get one. So that's a final score of 4 out of 5. Making this a model I can highly recommend if you can find one at a price you're happy with. I certainly had a good experience with mine, and I'm happy I can mostly recreate one of my greatest gathering train rides in miniature. If only someone would bring out the original Ffestiniog coaches to plug the gap. So, what do you think of the Ffestiniog Brake Third van? Did you get a chance to ride it at the Greatest Gathering as well? Let me know how you found the event and also what you think of the model down in the comments. Until next time, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you again very soon. Take care.